You're listening to another episode of Two Babies in a Business, where I get to catch up with awesome women trying to balance it all between motherhood and professional life from across Canada. And today I have a very special friend and colleague with me. We do lots of interesting things together, fresh off of, I would say, a really big, interesting AI project. But Cheryl, thanks for coming. Why don't you tell everyone all about yourself?
Thanks for having me, Christina. I'm excited to join you today. Yeah, a little bit about me. So I guess professionally, officially, I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications at WSI. And for those that don't know, WSI, we're a digital marketing network. So we actually have a great collaborative network of agency owners and franchise owners that are digital marketing consultants to small, medium, and even large size businesses. And so I work at the home office and have been there for, I'm in my 20th year now with the team. But my team's really responsible with just supporting all marketing efforts across the business, whether that's bringing great new partners into our network and business owners to, creating marketing content and all that sort of stuff that they can use to engage with their ultimate prospects and clients. And so professionally, that's kind of what keeps me busy during the day. I'm also a mom. I have two boys, so they are going to be turning 13 and 9 shortly. And yeah, I'm married to a great human being. We met in university. We've known each other for like 20 plus years as well. And we reside in Georgetown, Ontario. So we are Canadian. And so, yeah, we are very busy because we've all grown up, both my husband and I have grown up very involved in sports, and that's just passed over to our kids. And so at night, we're always right now at a baseball diamond, mostly. Both of my boys play rep baseball, and normally in the winter, we're in a hockey rink. And so, yeah, just kind of flowing from day to day, living by our calendar day to day on that front.
Yeah, it's funny how like our passions, or not even passions, but just like how we live life becomes how our kids live life. Because it's like Peter and I too, right? Like we were active. He played recreational sports. I, had, whatever training I was doing at the time. And now it's like almost like a copy paste over to the kids. I mean, I'd love to have more of my time. But it's interesting, like it's nice. I mean, it's a lifestyle we knew. I mean, now we're the chauffeurs too, but do you think
Yeah.
that's like conscious? Or do you think maybe it's like, I don't know, I don't want to get into a nature nurture debate, but do you think it's like a conscious decision or just
Yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, obviously that's how we grew up. That's how I grew up. I grew up playing sports, baseball and hockey is why I ended up playing. And it's probably why our kids have gravitated towards specific sports, definitely, because that's kind of what we know. But I think, there's something to be said there about whether, we're just used to it and that's just naturally how it came to be. But I think being used to it, we've seen all the benefits that that can also afford just from a like social standpoint for kids. And even not only that, but additional like skills and development and just how they carry themselves and interact with people. And so I think from that perspective, definitely we've leaned towards getting them involved in the community on that front. Like my son, he's will be in grade 8, but in grade 9, when he goes to high school, I've said to him, just think about how much easier it's going to be for you to integrate into a new school because you have people from all the sports you've played with that are also going there. And so it's not just going to be about who you went to school with, but it's also who you actually know. And I think, you know, I've always kind of been a big advocate of team sports generally, just for
yeah.
that reason and kind of, and so I think it probably was very like, oh, well, that's what we did. But, I think there's lots of benefits that we kind of leaned in on that too.
Yeah. Team
Yeah.
sports, the original networking.
Yeah, totally. Totally. I mean, and to be fair, even when I was interviewing, like way back in the day when I was interviewing, I remember the team sports being something that like really caught the eye of when I was hired by WSI, and they were like, "Oh, well, that's interesting. Like, tell me about what you learned from just being part of a team." And it seemed like it kind of perked up. So I do think it kind of like builds for down the road too.
It's
Yeah.
true. So true. Okay, team sports, WSI,
Yeah.
balancing it all. How are you doing over there? Do you balance? How do you make it work? What's your secret sauce, Cheryl?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if there's a secret sauce, and to be fair, the sauce ingredients may change day to day. I think I've been really lucky in the fact that I work from home, and that wasn't the case. Actually, that came out of COVID stuff. Like I was in the office every single day. Now, my kids were younger at that point, so I wasn't being pulled in as many directions
Right.
as I might be now, because now they're just busier. But since COVID, I've been lucky to be at a home office. That affords a little bit of more flexibility on me being able to jet out here and there and getting them to stuff, because my husband doesn't have the same flexibility. So one of us has to have it. And so I think that's a little bit of our secret sauce, is at least one of us are able to kind of get to the things that we need to get to right away after the day ends. I mean, also the work that I do affords me a little bit of flexibility in being able to close down and open up at a different time. Not everyone has that. Like if you're, working somewhere more physically with specific hours, like you have to be there when those hours are happening or be with the people. But luckily I've been able to like, okay, I can close down. I can take things with me. A
Right.
lot of a lot is happening at the hockey rink and tapping into Wi-Fi and like working on things as they're like skating, or even going to find a quiet area and having a call and like, so that's affords some of the ability to maybe balance, is being able to have some of that, opportunity to like close down when I need to, but open back up. And so sometimes it just means I am going back to things later on in my evening. I try not to do it though when the kids are kind
Right.
of up. So I try and like, it can be hard, especially with the business we do, when there's like lots of like computer and downtime, and we can easily be on our computer at any time. I think that sometimes is hard to balance, because sometimes it's so easy for us to just jump on.
Yeah.
And so I have tried to not do that as much when the kids are up, and be
Right.
like present as much as I can when they're up and about and whatnot, and then being able to go back to it in the evening if I need to.
Yeah.
Um, but I think for us, some of the balances, we can't do it all at our end. We do have to lean on other support mechanisms. Luckily, we have some great parent friends that all their kids are also playing the sports. And so sometimes the balancing act is just making sure that you lean on others and be okay that you can lean on others
Yeah.
and ask for the help when you need it, to be fair. And not overcommit. Sometimes you just have to say no to stuff.
It's true.
It's hard, but sometimes you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I've recently, this past year, started saying no to like more birthday parties.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, you get inundated over the school year with birthday party invites, especially like, my kids are still in that prime
That prime birthday age. Yeah.
birthday party age. And it's like, yeah, I let them know. I'm like, look, we're not going to make it to all of them because you want to do sports and you want to go to hike with us, or you want to, it is that like balance of saying no. And I don't know, hopefully I'm teaching the kids something about saying no early, because I don't know if I ever learned that say no lesson early
Yeah.
in life.
And I think it's also like a lesson in like keeping your commitments, right? Like if you are gonna play something or say you're going to do something, then okay, well, we're committed to that. We can't just drop it to do something else sometimes,
Totally.
as much as we'd like to. Yeah.
How do you like what are the things you do to like consciously turn off? Because I mean, I struggle with the same thing, right? Like to your point, I love the fact that we can be flexible and right, like this morning I was sitting at a Starbucks because I needed the quiet space over there, but now I can be back in the home office and do what I need to do, which is amazing. But the turning off becomes hard too. So what's your strategy there?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And I will say I'm am better at turning off some instances than others. Like for sure, if we've got like a tight deadline or like when we've got our big convention coming up and we're just
Right.
gearing towards stuff, sometimes I can't turn off as much as I'd like to. But I think for me, it's like trying to, especially because I work out of my home, the
Yeah.
walking up to the office or the workspace is really easy to do.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's as easy as me just making sure I close my door at the end of the day.
I like that.
So it's just not open. And I look at it, I'm like, you know what? Like lights are off, door is closed.
Yeah.
Make sure I'm staying downstairs. I'm like we're eating together when we get the time to eat together. That doesn't happen a lot, to be fair. It's a lot of go meals, but like we're eating together, making sure I stay and sit down with the family and don't try and retreat.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
yeah.
love that, right? There's like a bit of the like, I don't know, when I used to work in a real office,
Yeah.
right? You'd like go into, I remember I had like the little, light in your cubicle. You turn your light on. Okay, she's there now. And right, like
Yeah.
there is something about, okay, I'm closing the door. The office is closed.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's even can be like, and I'm gonna shut my computer down today. Because then I'm like, oh, I have to go up, I have to turn the computer on. Like it's not, yeah. So sometimes just those little things.
Yeah,
And then it's a lot of sometimes willpower not to just scurry back up if I don't need to.
it's true. I like that though. The physical, it's like the habits, right? I had one, I think actually it was my business coach. I was gonna say friend, but I think it was my business coach who said take a walk at the end of the day. Like, you used to have a commute home from downtown, and so you'd be in the car and you'd be like switching from, office person to mom or whatever, and you had that time to unwind and put music on. And so he had the suggestion of just like, even if it's around the block, like leave the office and then come back in. I mean,
Yeah. I love that. That would actually get me outside more often than I probably am. Right. I like on my own. Like I like we're all I think, we go where our kids need to go. And so sometimes, it's hard to find those moments for yourself to kind of like calm down with it just going like, okay, well, I gotta stop work because I gotta go here because I have to. Yeah.
it's hard. I mean, for me too, because usually that like end of day is okay, I'm closing up shop, then I'm going to pick the kids up from school. Obviously, more times than not, Peter's coming too because he's trying to shut down the day. But that's like the first time we're now catching up. So if like I've had a hard interaction with a client, or if he's had something exciting happen, or now we're like brain dumping on each other. And it's funny, especially this last year, I've noticed how much the kids like internalize those little conversations, right? Like, because we're not necessarily turning off the office. Now
Yeah.
we're like having office water cooler chat with the kids in the back seat of the car. And Bart the other day was like, are you gonna fire that client that you was making? And I was like, no, like, just a bad day.
Yeah.
But like they're listening.
Yeah. This is all off the record, by the way, kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna have to teach them that. Tone of silence in the car. Oh, that's funny. Okay,
Yeah.
we just came fresh off of a really cool AI report.
Yeah.
That was a really fun project to work alongside you on through WSI. Do you want to give like the I feel like you've had to give the 40,000 foot of this report a million times. I'm going to make you give it one more time.
Right.
Um, because I feel like there's some cool nuggets in there.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, as a digital marketing based company and supporting businesses with their digital marketing strategies, obviously AI is a natural integration into our overall service offering when it comes to helping businesses adopt and integrate and understand the opportunities that can exist with AI in their own business. And so AI consulting is kind of coming into our service offering. And one of the ways we wanted to really kind of understand for ourselves, but also to help other businesses understand where they are in the overall landscape of AI and adoption in relation to everyone else, was to run our own kind of business insight survey. And so we ran it. I think it kicked off end of last year, but really it was gathering responses the first part of this year. And so we had great responses. It ended up being over 500 really small and medium-sized businesses, some larger ones in there, but that was the core demos of the responses that we got, which was actually, I think, our goal in the long run, because it is a voice that we're just not hearing a lot
Yeah.
on the AI front right now. There's a lot happening at the enterprise level, and we really want to understand, well, where is the small and medium-sized business owner or marketing professional understanding? So basically, the survey was meant to kind of get a gauge of how familiar they even are with AI, how they see it impacting them now, or where they see it impacting them now, and also where they see it impacting them in the future and where they think they may be moving towards on that front. And so from all of that, their responses, we've put together this pretty detailed, like a 30-page report. It's the WSI's AI Business Insights report, and basically how small and medium-sized businesses are navigating AI. And so from there, lots of great insights, just generally speaking, on just where they are feeling like they need help, where there might be some gaps that even like people like WSI consultants can fill and help fill in, and just kind of see where that goes from. And so just launched it actually like a few weeks ago or so. And I think it's going to be a really great kind of educational piece for everyone. Like, we're seeing so much, just like businesses are needing education on AI. They still are probably a little bit more siloed in their conversations generally on what's happening. So at the business company level, there needs to be more strategic discussions happening.
Yeah.
And knowing where to start's kind of hard if you don't really know what you should be doing. And so where expert guidance can come into play there, they're seeing that need. And so, yeah, it's been a big initiative, because there's been a lot of work. There was a lot, the survey, and then getting the report and making sure it was all meaningful. And now we've put a lot of great collateral and promotional material with the help of you and the team on how our network can use that. But yeah, I think we were already got news items being picked up, but people talking about it on other podcasts and stuff. And so it's been, I think, a really great initiative overall. And we're excited to continue it, like almost do like a yearly kind of review and see where the state of AI with small businesses will be even in 12 months from now.
Yeah. I mean, echoing what you said, I think it's cool that we now have this glimpse into the small, medium-sized business, right? Like the
Yeah.
people like me,
Yeah.
right? Like, okay, am I behind? Am I ahead? What do I need to worry about? What do I not need to worry about? I think that even the people just in my network that I've passed it along to, I feel like it becomes this nice validation of it's okay that this feels a little bit big and scary, and it's okay to not know everything, but okay, there are opportunities here, and this is a good thing. So I feel like it's like opened the door for really interesting conversations where it, I don't know, it feels intimidating sometimes to be able to go out and talk about AI if you're not, the expert. But this really, I feel like, has leveled a playing field.
For sure. And I think it just, maybe validates how like our like what we're saying other businesses might be feeling by actually being able to say, listen, this is what they're telling us they're actually feeling. Like we've got, the stats behind it and and like the info behind that. And so and people are thinking about where that can fit into their business more than they might have been, right? Like 12 months before that. And so yeah, I think for us, it's about those conversations,
Totally.
starting conversations, it being that kind of resource that people can have conversations around and kind of see, oh, okay, where do I fit in? And where do I go from there? Really where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, tying it back to mom life.
Mm.
Do you think, I mean, obviously AI is changing the game. I mean, I don't think I've really even consciously thought about like AI as a mom, if I'm being honest, but I definitely will. I mean, it's definitely speeding up things for me. And obviously, even this morning, I feel like I could use a little bit less brain power, as I had one eye on the boys and one
Yeah.
eye on deliverables. Like, how do you think AI might transform your life as a mom over there?
Yeah. It's so funny you asked that. It's definitely helped me maybe with my kids' homework and helping them with homework, to be fair, and using it as like a Q&A almost. Like, man, my 12-year-old was like sat me down and he's like, I've got all this math homework I gotta get through. And he's like asking me these questions. I'm like, dude, I did English in university for a reason. Like I went into communications for a reason. Your dad's the English for the math person.
Yeah.
But like I jumped on like ChatGPT was like asking scenario questions to see if it could help us work stuff out. And so normally I would have been like, I don't know if I can help, but then I could actually like sit down and be like, well, let's think through it. Let's like logically think through some stuff. And it's interesting because he saw me using it.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I've kind of seen kids talk about this. And like it
Oh,
kind of piqued his interest a little bit on that front. So I think, there's ways I've used it that way, but actually on for my younger son, I am their, I mean, just by way I think of being in digital marketing, their social media manager
nice.
for hockey and baseball team. So I like
Yeah.
manage their Instagram profile and are taking pictures, but like I use ChatGPT all the time for the captions for that stuff. Like it would take me like if I had to like think through all like the cleverness and like all the different ways. And so like I'm just like plugging into the app on my phone and like writing some things and it's just and like I can do stuff like really fast. And so, it allows me to maybe just be take less time to do things so I can free up my time more as well with them too.
That's such a, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel every mom has to do their tour of duty of volunteering for whatever kids activity it is. And I haven't even thought about that, but it's true, right? There are those little hacks that allow it to go quicker, and I love that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
nice. My big thing too has been, you know, the chat GPT or Pi. I'm a big fan of Pi. I feel like Pi was created for the millennial because it just is so positive, just so affirming of all your decisions you make. But it's nice to just to like, you know, those times where you're ultra frustrated and you don't have the solutions, just now having this like database of, okay, yeah, like one, this is normal behavior.
Yes.
And two, here's a bunch of strategies. And for me, it's been like, oh, that's interesting. I never thought about that. And like this big emotion could be because of this. And so I feel like helped me a little bit. I don't want to call it Dr. Google because that's like not a place to go to. I'm not asking medical advice, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know, just those parenting strategies where you're like, wow, I'm stuck. It's been a nice little unlock for me.
Yeah, definitely. I could see that too. I should tap into it in more of that, especially as my like 12-year-old like is like I swear
Yeah,
like 19 and like in like
there
all
you
in
go.
one foul swoop and we're getting into the teenage years.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go. Okay, last question for you. I feel like, okay, pop culture, mainstream media, there's more discussion on women and the balancing act we have to do. And we have good, I feel like things to point to in terms of, I don't know, Taylor Swift and the Barbie movie and all the things. Do you feel like mainstream media is finally getting it right? What do you wish they would show? Where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think there's definitely our strides are being made, and I could maybe look at that more like growing up as someone who played sports a lot. I
No.
don't think I saw what female sports being as showcased then as I do now, even in a professional standpoint. Um, and so seeing these professional leagues for basketball, hockey, kind of getting a little bit more in the mainstream and people like, jumping onto those bandwagons and like watching and kind of engaging with that. I think that has been interesting. So I think we're making strides there
Yeah,
for sure. I think there's always going to be things we come up against regardless, but I think there has been some like very interesting things that have happened even just over the last year. I mean, you mentioned the Barbie movie. I'm not sure if anything like that would have come out
yeah,
years prior. Like you just think about like, would this have happened
yeah.
like 5 or 10 years ago? And so I don't know. Like, so the fact that those things are happening are good. I think there's more representation that's happening, which is nice to see. I think still probably more has to happen, but like even just if you look at, I don't know if you watch Bridgerton at all. Do you watch Bridgerton?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, this season, like the lead was not like was a female that wasn't like the conventional like
right,
female body type. So
right.
even like, right, but there's a lot to be like showcased there, and she was like a really big champion of like showcasing that element of the series, and there's been a lot of, I think nice things to see on that front
Totally.
even. Like,
Yeah,
would that have happened even like years prior? And I think things like TikTok and other mechanisms are like maybe not allowing for more
hmm.
opportunities and spaces for that representation to come through a little bit more.
I like that. I never even made that.
User
Yeah,
generated, right? It's so much more user generated than media generated. And I
yeah,
think we gravitate towards these more user generated things now. And those are tools that just let us see more of it.
yeah. No, I love that. I'm just waiting for my, representation of the work from home mom using her
Yeah,
AI to help with homework.
I know. Yeah. Having to do it all, run around.
Yeah, with her handy chat GPT on her phone.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Well, Cheryl, thank you for the chat and thank you for sharing your story. And yeah, I know we'll
Oh,
be connecting again real soon.
yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Christina. I've enjoyed chatting about more than just my work today.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening in today to another incredible journey of a mom who's just like you, trying to balance it all. I'm encouraging you to join our community online. It's TBAAB, Two Babies in a Business, .circle.so. That's TBAAB.circle.so. Join in the community, share your story, learn from other women. I'm so looking forward to seeing you there.